Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. Welcome to another episode where we'll be ranking every single League One club's season in a tier list. How is everybody getting on? We've got a lot of people already in the live chat. Of course, I'm going to need your help. So let me know in the live chat how you're doing. Hopefully having a really, really good day. Lots to get through today. All 24 teams have got to go into a tier list. Remember, we're ranking every single League One club's season. Very, very interesting. So, of course, congratulations, everybody. We've got to the end of the season. It felt like it dragged a little bit. But it was a really, really enjoyable season, a really, really fascinating campaign. So many twists, so many turns, and today we can really, we can really dissect it and really start having a bit of a discussion. Because I'm sure a lot of people will have an opinion on all of these different, tiers and different talking points. Someone's already said, how we do. We've got an Ipswich fan here. We've got a Bolton fan here. Good, thanks. How are you? I'm very, very good. Thank you very much, FaZe HD. Wigan were just quite poor. Sometimes you've got to just do a little bit of extra work in the thumbnail, my friend. Don't worry. I don't think they'll be in that tier. We've got Jim Smith in here as well, of course, Charlton Athletic fan. How are we all doing? Let me know if you're all having a very, very good day. Of course, we're going to be ranking every single League One club. Remember, you can watch this as a video as well. This will be going up on the channel as a normal video. So if you are watching this on the channel, then welcome. How are you doing? Subscribe, leave a like. And if you've just tuned in live as well and you haven't subscribed, we're on the road to 1.6 thousand subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button as well. Of course, you can leave me know in the comments down below. The live chat will be open for you live people watching right now. However, if you watch this as a video, the comment section will be open. I'll be replying and responding to all of your thoughts as per usual. A lot to get through. Let's not mess about because we haven't really got enough time to be doing anything other than getting in this live chat, hearing your thoughts, and start putting some of these teams in the tier. So I've got on my, going to have the live chat on the side here, and we're also going to, of course, bringing up the tier list on the screen right now. Right, hopefully everything is okay. Let's go over to this screen and let's go over here, and we should be able to bring up the tier list like so. Hopefully you can see that right now. Hopefully you'll be able to see that tier list. Amazing if you can. You can see, right, we've got 5 tiers. Okay, let me run through them. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, but we can still run through them as per usual, of course. Forget that even happened. Such a bad season. We'll forget that even happened. Let's just forget we even stepped foot into this League One season. Just quite poor. Not a great season at all, really. Bang average. Bang average. Good season. Elite season. Now, of course, there's 5 categories here, and there are a lot of teams that have a bit of controversy between the two of them. Because I'm doing it live as well, of course, that's where I need you. So, in the live chat, I need to hear what you've got to say, because the live chat is going to be very, very helpful when we put this together. Very, very helpful. Of course, as well, I might be doing some polls as well, because remember, we can do polls here on the live chat, so we can, of course, be giving your thoughts through that as well. Up the Millers, we've got... honestly, Sunderland wasn't even that great if it weren't for Alex Neil. Everyone would be saying it was a bad season. Interesting point. We're going to start off with Accrington Stanley, everybody. We're going to start off with the people and the teams on the screen right now. I'm going to need your help. Of course, we're going to have lots of people from the different supporters, so that's amazing. But I'm going to need some help with the other clubs as well. So starting off then with Accrington Stanley. What have we got to say about Accrington and where can we put them? Well, you can see on the screen now, here is the league table. You can see Accrington Stanley, safe as sound, 12th in the league. No fear of relegation. No real excitement of a promotion push, you could say, but they're not working with the biggest budget. I'm sure Accrington fans won't mind me saying it. They're not working as well with the biggest football club in terms of stature, in terms of size, in terms of, the infrastructure, ultimately. However, John Coleman, he's been there for a long period of time, and he knows the football club like the back of his hand, and he's doing a very, very good job. Charlton, I love. Who are they? Very, very good point. Bang average, mate. Plymouth should be in elite. Hello, how are we doing? Bolton had a great season considering it was their first season back in League One. We'll come on to that. Don't you worry. But starting off with Accrington Stanley. I mean, someone's already said bang average. It's either bang average or good season for me, because you've got to remember they're safer sound, 12th in the league, a very, very good position, higher than likes of Charlton and others. So is it a good season? Is it a good season? For me, Accrington's a tough one. Accrington's a really, really difficult one because you can look at it in lots of different ways. I'm going to go with bang average to start with, but that could change. For me, it's between good season and bang average, but I'm going to go with bang average. The chat is saying bang average. McConville carried them. So, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, we're going to go with bang average to start off with, but we could move up those different categories, maybe to a good season. Maybe when you compare it to the sort of, I guess the other teams in the league, when you look at the money and the budget he's working with, or John Coleman's working with, and the club is sort of having to deal with. However, yeah, they're safe as sound. Nothing too special. That's probably why you'd say it's bang average. Right, moving on then to AFC Wimbledon. Not a good year for Wimbledon. However you look at it, they will not be happy with the campaign. Relegated, of course, in the end, you can see on the screen right now, 23rd in the league. Not a good campaign at all. And, of course, they'll be playing League 2 football next season. They have, of course, appointed Johnny Jackson, the ex-Charlton manager, caretaker, legend, football, centre-half there. Knows everything about Charlton, of course. A bit of a legend at the football club. Wasn't really managing them for much, for very long at all. Came in January, then about a 6-month spell, and then, of course, left the football club and got sacked at the end of the season. He's already back into the world of work in football, and he's now AFC Wimbledon manager. But of course, we're judging it off this season, not of what the potential success could be going into next year. So it's tough. It is tough. Someone just asked how are we going through them. I'm going to just go through them that I can see on the screen right now. Some of them are in alphabetical. I guess, are they in alphabetical? Sort of, but not really. We'll just go off the screen. You can see. We'll just go off it. That you can see on the bottom there below the tier. But yeah, with Wimbledon, however you look at it, it wasn't a good year at all. And the question I posed to you in the chat as well is, if you get relegated, does that instantly put you in forget that even happened? Well, we've got people here. Bolton got saved by the guys they loaned. I don't think they're that good. Okay, someone's not very happy with the old Bolton analyst. Then be prepared to get bored. How are you getting through them? Yeah, we're going to go through them sort of as we can see them here. So, yeah, I mean, FaZe has said they've had a poor season, unfortunately. The question I asked the chat right now, and one thing I want to hear from you in the live chat is, if a team gets relegated, does that instantly put them in that bottom tier? Because for me, if you come 23rd, you've probably got to forget that even happened, if I'm being quite honest, if I'm being really brutal. I think if you come 23rd in the league, playing League 2 football next season, 37 points, 3 points from safety, but of course the goal difference isn't good at all. Yeah, it's either a poor season or it's forget that even happened. A lot of people are saying poor, maybe been a bit harsh on that. So yeah, let me know. Just quite poor, forget that even happened. If you get relegated, you've got to be bottom tier. Yeah, it probably has got to be bottom tier, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of looking at it. Anthony Mackham says Accrington equals good. So Sunderland finally won playoff final and got in the Championship. That's enough for me to qualify for elite. We'll come on Sunderland. A lot of people, of course, want to be hearing about my thoughts on Sunderland. We'll come on to that. No worries at all. Not always, but it's the case with Wimbledon. Yeah, relegated and you come bottom. Promotion in top tier. It's very simple. Okay. I see how this is going. Promotion instantly in elite season. We'll come back to that. But if I go elite season, considering we finished 17th last term, we'll come on to that. Of course. Yeah, we're going to go forget that even happened. I think if you get relegated, the bottom tier is probably the safest bet. And again, they didn't enjoy a very good year at all. I bring up this the analyst here. You can see expected goals for. This is, of course, the XG table. You can see 23.8 expected goals. That's very, very low. Second bottom when it comes to expected goals. In terms of goals scored as well, you can see third worst for most goals scored, 26 goals. That's compared to 59. Oxford United, who got the most. So you can see they're the bottom end of a lot, especially going forward when it comes to the tiers. In terms of goals against, a little bit better, a little bit higher, but they struggled to score goals. They struggled to do a lot in the offensive third, even defensively as well. You can see here, 5th, 6th worst for goals against. So they conceded too many goals, and they did not score enough at all. So you can see why they are where they are. For me, it's got to be a bottom tier for Accrington Stanley. Right, moving on then to Burton Albion. What are we thoughts on Burton? Gillingham had a positive second half of the season, in my opinion. Okay, interesting. For Burton, I mean, you can see where they are in the league table now, 16th in the league. Enjoyed a really good start to the season, but unfortunately sort of dropped off in the end. They hover around 16th place, which is, to be fair, I think where I predicted Burton to be under Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank. They're not expected to be the top end. Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank probably would have wanted to. I mean, they've been in the Championship before, so the dream maybe is to get back into that league. But ultimately, it wasn't really the season where they could do so. They got, of course, ended in a minus goal difference, 67 goals conceded in total. Again, they weren't really worried about relegation, 13 points safe of relegation relegation in 16th, but in terms of a push of promotion, you know how many points it takes to get even in that top six, even think about the playoff places. They weren't looking at that either, so they're definitely a side this year that have been hovering around. I mean, in the end, they finished the bottom half of the table, but they've been sort of flirting mid-table, bottom half. Never really looked like a side seriously looking to go down. At the start of the season, started quite well, but of course dropped off, and then in the end, we're not looking at a side really pushing for promotion. So it's, to be fair, probably bang average, if I'm being completely honest. I think Burton, it has to be bang average. How am I talking? Okay, some people are not happy. Some Bolton people are not happy at the moment. Let's see what we've... let them get round to it first. Yeah, let's just get to each team first. Let's see what we've... let's see what we've got to... Let's see what we've got to do. Let's go team by team and discuss team by team. So, moving on then to Cambridge United. For me, this is a bit of an underrated contender for maybe elite season. Elite season might be a little bit too far. It's certainly good season. For me, there's no doubt in my mind they have to be in good season. I think a really interesting way of doing this is definitely looking at where they were at where a lot of people predicted them at the start of the season, and then they'd be able to compare them to where they are now. For me, I think Cambridge find themselves in a position where they do much better than I thought they would. I tipped them definitely to get relegated. They've done a brilliant job this season. And Martin Bonner, of course, at the helm at the moment for Cambridge, has done a brilliant job. He's playing a really attractive style of play. Some key players like the likes of Adam May in that midfield, but also look at the players like Sam Smith up front as well. He scored a lot of goals. So you can see there's a real unified, structured side at Cambridge United, and a side that I certainly thought would get relegated. They proved me very, very wrong. For me, it has to be good season. It just has to be good season. Alex said it has to be good. Great videos, mate. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Dan. I really do appreciate it. Accrington had a much better season than Burton. That's what I mean. But to be fair, Cambridge, Accrington, you might have to move them up to good season. We will do that. Cambridge in good for sure. Yeah, it has to be a good season. I think they've had a really, really good campaign. They've really surprised a lot of people. And the way they've played as well, they've caused a lot of problems for teams they expected to lose. And for me, they've been a real banana skin for sides across the campaign. Been really impressed with them. And they really are, I think, a side going into next season. A positive summer transfer window. I think we could be looking at a side that could be even pushing maybe a little bit higher up, but again, the summer, that's in front of us. That's the future. Let's have a look at what we've just seen. It's got to be a good season, in my opinion. I don't get why you're saying I don't even support Wigan. People are still not happy about Bolton and Wigan in the live chat. Right, then let's move on to Charlton. I know we've got a lot of Charlton fans in the live chat, so please make sure, if you're a Charlton fan, get your thoughts in here right now. Even if you're not a Charlton fan, we've got 137 people watching right now. Get in the live chat, discuss Charlton, because Charlton's a tough one. For me, it's between two, if I'm being quite honest. I think it's between just quite poor and forget that even happened. A side that definitely invested in the summer. Arguments were to say they invested in the wrong areas and invested with the wrong players. I probably would have to agree with that. But they certainly did not meet the expectations they would have wanted to. And a size like Charlton with that sort of stature, that sort of history and that sort of expectation, they really have been. I mean, they've gone through two managers this season. Nigel Atkins started it, then Johnny Jackson sort of had that honeymoon period after caretaker role, then got the full job, enjoyed a really, really good campaign pretty much up until he got the full job in terms of the 3 or 4 games he had. Then it sort of really did sort of decline. In the end, they've sacked him. Looks like they're going to get the new Swindon, or the Swindon manager's only been there a year, but I think that's what it's looking like. So, yeah, what we saying about Charlton? A lot of people saying poor, quite poor. Such a disappointing season, but the Charlton game I went to where we won was brilliant. Good side. Charlton poor. Charlton a very poor season. I thought they'd be pushing for promotion. Is it poor then? Is it poor? Is it forget that even happened? People are saying poor. Charlton poor. They're going in poor. The live chat has spoken. It has not been a good season for them. They did a really, really big summer window. Not that good, but bang average. Just a bit poor. I mean, I slightly disagree with you, Jim. I don't think it can be bang average. I don't think Charlton fans will be accepting that as an average season. I think it has to be poor. And linking on to your point there, I think expanding on that, the money that they spent in the summer, there was a significant amount there, but also the expectation. It's got to be higher than where it is. I mean, you look at the league table right now, 13th in the league. I mean, it's mid-table, but it shouldn't be. You should be not in mid-table. Finishing on minus goal difference as well. It just hasn't been a very good season. Again, it needs to be a real rebuild, a real restructure in terms of, I think, off the field as well as on the pitch. They need to get a manager in place as well. It looks like they are set to announce the Swindon manager, so that'll be an interesting point. But they went for a young, hungry manager who has enjoyed a good season in League 2. How's that going to look in terms of going into next year? They need to appoint someone quick and get that transfer recruitment process starting as quickly as possible, because ultimately this window, with the competitivity of this division, getting players in as quickly as possible, and a lot of people, a lot of teams are fishing in the same pool, and Charlton, they need to feel that they need to really start. I think they've got a lot of work to do is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, they need to really get a groove on. But it looks like they are looking to sort of get this manager appointment sorted, and then it's a big summer ahead for me for Charlton. I think it could be a really significant summer, one that could be, I think, the difference between another average season, another poor season, or one that really can push them on and get them back to where they belong, which ultimately is, Championship and beyond. Right, let's move on to Cheltenham then. People are already getting their thoughts in for Cheltenham. Good, had a good season, great season. Everyone backed us to go down. I've got to agree with everybody there. It has to be a good season. I think, again, similar to Cambridge, I think I've compared them with Cambridge for a lot of the season. Hopefully, Cheltenham fans don't mind me doing that. Cambridge fans, hopefully you don't mind me doing that as well. But the reason why I compare them is because they finished so close to each other in the League One table. You can see right now, 15th, 14th. Alex, is Cheltenham bang average? I don't think it can be bang average, Alex. I don't know if it can, mate. I think when you look at when you look at the favourites to get relegated, they were definitely in there in the mix. Cheltenham had a good season, winning League Two and come up mid-table, which I think is brilliant. Exactly. I think it has to be a good season. It has to be a good season. And the reason why I compare those two sides is because very, very much tipped to go down, Cambridge and Cheltenham, but really, really have under Michael Duff, who's the manager at Cheltenham. I mean, look at some key players. Alfie May's been absolutely phenomenal for them this season. These sides that have come up in particular, I mean, none of the sides that came up went straight back down, and that just shows the quality, I think, of the sides that came up. I mean, not necessarily the out-and-out quality. I mean, Morecambe probably haven't shown the top-end quality throughout the entire season, but they've stayed up, and that has to be credit to the sides that have come up, and they've dealt with League One brilliantly well. And I think that's really, really interesting. Charlton poor, yeah, I think we've already put that in there, mate. I think we probably have to agree with that. I know Charlton have had here we go. Louis talking about Charlton here. I know Charlton have been in the top flight in recent years, but honestly don't think they're that big of a club. They've only ever won an FA Cup, and they're 33 on the all-time top flight table. Yeah, I think it's... either way, however big the club is, I think defining a big club is quite difficult. However you look at it, Charlton are a big club in comparison to a lot of teams in this league, and for that reason, I think with the financial benefits of or the financial backing, ultimately, I think you would expect them to be higher than where they do finish. So yeah, I probably would have to put them in the just quite poor. And a lot of Charlton fans that I have spoken to as well have said they're not happy with the season whatsoever. But an interesting point. Cheltenham bang average for sure. If Cheltenham are going there, surely Bolton go higher, finishing third in League Two. Well, remember, lads. I'll say boys. It could be some girls as well. Remember, everybody. We are ranking it off this season. So I think you've got to base it off what we've just seen. I think basing it sort of on League Two and what happened there, because you can talk about, Bolton finished third, but they've had probably a lot more players come in the door, and also they've got a bigger football club, and financially as well, they are. You would say financially for a long time, Bolton weren't in a good position, but they are getting much better. The players they've put in and the players they've added, and on top of the squad that got third, is still you'd say now good enough to be finishing. Not what they are, they've had a good season, but you know what I'm trying to say. I think if we're comparing Cheltenham and Cambridge and Bolton, a lot of things have happened. We've had a January transfer window, we've had a sort of a real financial stability period at Bolton where they've really sort of got things going in the right direction, which is very, very important for that football club. So a lot have happened. It's interesting. Charlton have a big name but not a big club. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Cheltenham there. I've been very, very impressed with them. They've had a good season, and I'm happy with that. Cheltenham's smallest budget in the league, exactly. Smallest budget in the league to finish 15th, safe as sound. Not really any point in the season where I thought they were going to go down. Caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams. They beat Oxford United at home at the start of the season and looked like a really well-organised side. I think, like I said, Alfie May, has had a brilliant campaign, and he's been a real shining light. So it has to be in good season for me. I'm happy to put them there. Right, Crewe. We move on to Crewe next. Already people are saying Crewe bottom. I think there's no doubt in my mind. You've got to forget that even happened. It's an absolute abysmal campaign for Crewe. Let me know, what have you got to say about Crewe? Alex has already come in and said that they have to be bottom. They do have to be bottom, in my opinion. I think we're looking at a Crewe side that, look, 24th in the league, 29 points. In the end, nowhere near safety. 11 points. It's far and beyond the way from safety, to be honest. Opinions on Newport County. I don't have many opinions on Newport County, and that's not because I don't rate you. It's because I don't really know too much about you, if I'm being completely honest. Where did you finish in League Two? That's all I've got to say on that, because I completely apologise. I do not know. In fact, because you've asked me a question like that, and I feel really bad. I don't know enough about Newport County. I'll look up to see where you finish. 11th in the league. Not a great end to the season. Last 5 games. 11th in the league. Interesting stuff. Maybe next year could be your year. Right, get back to the job in hand. Yeah, I think Crewe. I mean, someone just said here, Crewe have to have their own tier. Crewe in their own tier. What happened? Do you think there's been an influx of better players playing in League One than last season? Do you think there's been a better influx of better players playing in League One this last season? Maybe. Yeah, I would say that. I'd also say, though, on top of that, I think we've seen a lot of players develop really, really well across this campaign. A lot of players, I think, because it depends what you say. You said there a little of better players. I mean, it's difficult to say a better player because, again, in comparison to the league, I think we've seen a really good variety of players at a very, very high level. But it's tough. It is tough. It's difficult one to say. I think we've seen a lot of players that I think throughout the season have been brilliant. And when I did my team of the season, I got a lot of stick for the team of the season for multiple different reasons. But you've also got to say as well, I think that's just really important, there's so many players that could have been in that team of the season, so many players that could be each team's player of the year, and that just shows the quality of players we've seen in this camp, throughout the campaign. So better players is tough. Someone says, "Are you actually live?" No, this is a simulation. It's a simulation. It's not happening. You're dreaming. Yeah, I am live. I am. No, Hart looked to be relegated straight away. Yeah, I think when you look at Crewe, I mean, that's a horrific campaign. We'll bring up these stats as well. Looking at XG, I mean, for goals against, second worst for XG, expected goals against. Definitely high up for most goals conceded at 57. I mean, that, fourth in the league for that. In terms of shots against as well, second for most shots against. I mean, defensively they look very, very vulnerable, and you can see exactly why. XG for goals scored, again, very, 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 very high up in the wrong sense, 30.6. In terms of goals there as well, fourth and least goals scored. In terms of shots, very, very low down. Again, you're looking at sixth for shots for shots for, which is very, very low, 336 compared to Rotherham's nearly 500. So you can clearly see it's not looking great for Crewe, and there's no doubt in my right mind, to be honest, they have to be in that bottom tier. Clayton says, "Hi, how are you doing, Clayton? Hopefully you're well. Up the chair, boys. Cameron Brannigan to Wigan. Hopefully not." Right, let's go to Doncaster then. Thoughts on Doncaster? Get your predictions for where you think I'm going to put the Doncaster in this tier. But of course, most importantly, I want to hear what you've got to say. Quickly going back to Crewe as well. I mean, their transfer window, I did my prediction. I said you've got to be much more ruthless with your predictions when it came to Crewe at the start of the season, because they lost some significant players in that summer transfer window. We're talking about players that were crucial in the campaign before that. They got promoted, actually, 2 seasons ago, stayed in the league last year. Charlie Kirk went off to Charlton, and G left. Ryan Winsell left on a free. These are very, very key players leaving the football club. Sometimes you have got to look at the players leaving and the significance of how important they were in the previous year. I don't really know why many people didn't think they would go down. Didn't think they wouldn't go down, to be honest, because the players they lost were so key. So, yeah, I think it's one of those where you've got to be a little bit more ruthless in your predictions. Hello from Spain, Sport Mike. Hello, how you doing? Hopefully, it's hotter and probably much better weather in Spain than it is here. Great work and great YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Sport. Really do appreciate it. Alex says bottom. I believe we're now talking about Doncaster. Yeah, bottom. Would be a great signing for us, that. Not going to lie. It would be a brilliant signing, Cameron Brannigan. Absolute stinker for Doncaster. You talk about Crewe. I remember we played the terrible, still beat them 4-0. Yeah, Crewe had an absolute shocker. Quite poor bottom tier. Quite poor. Doncaster, to be fair, I think Doncaster bottom just off looking at the table and how they play, but to be honest, don't know much about them. You can see here, 22nd in the league, 38 points. They could have stayed up if they won by more than about 24 goals on the final day. So you can argue they took it to the final day to stay in the league, which sounds like it was much closer. But throughout the season, however you look at it, very, very poor. Looking at the stats again here as well, you can see shots, again, very, very low. XG, again, third worst for the best XG ultimately. So, I mean, that's a bit of a contradiction in itself, but very, very low XG, which is not good when it comes to trying to score goals. Only 23 goals scored this season. That's a problem. I mean, that's open play, of course, but still very, very low. So, yeah, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. Hello from York, how you doing, my friend? Hopefully you're well. Rank the Irish League. I don't know if that'd be too much of a great watch, considering I know very little about the Irish League. Really bad recruitment from there. Hello from India, just subscribed. Al's fan here. How you doing, my friend? Hopefully you're well. Thank you very much for the subscription. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. We've got 300 people watching right now. We're, I think, very, very close to 1.6 thousand subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching right now, you haven't left a like as well, please do that. That really helps the algorithm, helps the growth of the podcast. If you're enjoying it, hit that like button and subscribe as well. We should easily hit 1.6 thousand subscribers if all of you subscribe. I mean, we should be on 1.8 subscribers. That might be a little bit unrealistic, though. Who would rank the Irish League? I mean, I'm not going to offend the Irish League. I just don't know too much about it. Wouldn't be a great watch. I don't think it would be for the Irish fans in particular. Right, back to Doncaster. You can see the point. Not very good defensively. Not very good going forward at all. A really, really struggling season. Been for a couple of managers as well in the campaign, and they haven't really worked. When managers come in, you sometimes hope for a bit of a bounce, hope for a bit of a difference in the way that you approach it, a different voice, a different style. The problem is, I think what Doncaster found was, I think whoever you bring in, you've got to look at the players and you've got to look at what's in front of you. Ultimately, the players weren't good enough to get them out of the mess they're in. Similar to Crewe, really. I think you could have put in a lot of managers, but the quality has to be there. And I think they're in a similar boat. I'm going to say that forget that even happened. I think if you come like that, you probably got to put it in there. Owls are too big for this league. I don't think anyone's too big for this league, unfortunately. I think you can ask Sunderland fans. They've been here a long, long time. Finally got promoted. Congratulations to them, by the way, because a lot of Sunderland fans are not happy with me at the moment. I'm very, very impressed with Sunderland. I don't hate Sunderland. I went in the Sunderland away end for the playoff final. They were brilliant. The fans are brilliant. I don't hate you, but ask Sunderland fans about being too big for the league. They'll say, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. You've just hit 1.6 thousand. Well done, mate. Thank you so much, everybody. We've just hit 1.6 thousand subscribers. Really, really do appreciate it. I was your 1.6 sub. Thank you very much, Jacob. Right, let's move on then to Fleetwood. Let's keep going through. Fleetwood, what have we got to say about Fleetwood? Stayed up by the skin of their teeth. Still lost to Bolton in the final game of the season, but they do stay up. And that, for me, is what they're going to be very, very happy about. Jacob says, up the Bradford. Up the Bradford indeed. Clubs need more money. Just quite poor. Where do you think we finish next season, mate? I think it'll be safe. I'm not just saying it. I think Sunderland will be safe. You keep Alex Neil. Keep the core of that squad. Keep the likes of Ross Stewart. I think you'll be fine. Joe Green says Fleetwood in forget it even happened. The reason why they're not is because I can't put them in if they stay up. For me, it's probably just quite poor. It's just quite poor. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because you can't put a team in forget that even happened unless they go down. It has to be quite poor. It wasn't a good season, but they've stayed up, and that's the important thing. I mean, it's been a really difficult year for them. Started off with Simon Grayson, that didn't work out. Then, of course, they went with a caretaker manager who I forgot his name completely. They really do apologise. But it's one of those where unless you go down, you probably can't be in that tier at all. Although they nearly went down, they didn't. And it sounds silly, but it's true. You probably got to put them in that category. Based on the fact that, although it was very, very close, they did not have a good season at all. They went absolutely through it this year in terms of throwing at lots of different properties. I think next season is going to be a really, really interesting year for Fleetwood. Just hired Scott Brown, the ex-Celtic captain there at Aberdeen recently, wasn't he, as a player. He comes in. He's going to be really, really interesting because he hasn't managed before, but I think he's a really interesting character and someone that's going to come in, I think, hopefully lift that squad and lift that side, but they're going to need players to add to that squad. Look, I mean, it was not a good year for them, but they stayed up. And for me, come the end of the season, looking at it from an external perspective, looking at Fleetwood, it was just important they stayed up, and they did that. So, yeah, you've probably got to put them in there. Hat-trick at Fleet. As a Sunderland fan, I like you. That's nice. Just hate League One with a passion. Brilliant stuff. Wigan fan here, just tuning into a stream for the first time. Dropped you a sub. Thank you very, very much, my friend. Really do appreciate it. Quite poor for Fleetwood. Fair enough. Need to be Alex Neil down. Need Alex Neil down to a contract. What is his contract, by the way? I don't know Alex Neil's contract. Is it a year, 18 months? Fleetwood quite poor, but not as bottom. Haven't gone down as they were shocking when they did. Thoughts on Marlon Fossey? Very, very good player for Bolton this season. Of course, he's on loan, isn't he? So I don't know what's going to go on there. Maybe a permanent signing. I imagine Fulham will probably be looking to. Well, I mean, they've gone up, so you'd be interested to see what their position will be there. Quite poor. Fleetwood will make playoffs next year. Bold statement. But I rate your confidence, and I also got to say as well, I think the appointment is really promising. He could be signing for us. Come on, Bolton. There is one I did add in forget that even happened if you didn't get relegated. Pompey, what a dip nowhere near they expect to be. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there might be someone else that gets into forget that even happened that didn't get relegated. But I think we find at the moment, by the way, we've got 478 people watching. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the stream, ranking every single League One club's campaign. I think it's to the end of the season. I think, well, I mean, either way, his contract is a 12-month rolling contract. We want him to long-term contract. You do need a long-term contract on that, mate, because he looks to be a really good signing. 839 people watching right now. Unbelievable scenes. Please make sure, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. The fact we've got this many people watching is absolutely phenomenal. Of course, as well, I need your help because we're now moving on to Gillingham. Where are we putting Tom Merrill? How you doing, my friend? Legend, Tom Merrill, 764 people. It's going up, mate. It's going up. 12-month deal, 932. Neil, too good for them. Let's not go too far. Think us Greens will be top half finish for the table next season. Come on, Argyle. Come on to Plymouth very, very shortly. Right, Gillingham. We need to focus on Gillingham. Let's get back on track. I mean, another side relegated. Another side really did not enjoy a good season. But, of course, it did improve. I think someone said at the start, they have improved. They did improve. Not enough to stay up. And in the end, they did it. They didn't stay up in the end because of goal difference. So very, very close and very, very harsh ultimately. But there was an improvement for me. And that is a very, very important thing to look at when, of course, a new manager came in, Neil Harris. I don't know if you've watched that post-match interview after they lost to Rotherham on the final day. We've got 1,000 people watching right now, people. 1,000 people. I'm going to screenshot that because that is absolutely phenomenal. 1,000 people watching me talk about League One football. That is what it's all about. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. While we've got a lot of people watching right now, can you just leave a like on the last episode with the Pompey video? And by the way, if you're a Portsmouth fan watching, that episode's so interesting. I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. There's someone else in it as well, so I'm not blowing too much smoke up my own backside. But if you haven't watched that, please do that. Not now, but after, of course. Got to beat Rotherham at the end of the season. Just quite poor because they improved. However, the lads, like the video. Gillingham had a great defence. Worst away day for me. 0-0 for Wednesday. 1.1 thousand people watching me. This is absolutely incredible. Less than 10 wins, though. I mean, yeah, we can bring up some of the stats here. Least goals scored, 16. I mean, it's not good, is it, at all? In terms of XG as well, bottom for XG. I mean, going forward is a clear weakness. You can see bottom for all of shots, XG, goals. That's a concern. That's a real concern. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like as well. Lots of people. This is the most I've ever had in a live stream. This is absolutely remarkable. Please hit that subscribe button. You are all legends. So, yeah, I mean, you look at Gillingham's season. It's not good. One Rovers blog says, evening, mate. How you doing, my friend? Congratulations on promotion, of course, Bristol Rovers fan. One Rovers vlog, definitely check out his channel. Brilliant channel. And I'm sure next season looking forward to it because League One's going to be a very interesting campaign. You can see here going forward, a clear problem. Goals against, you can see as well. I mean, that wasn't too pretty in terms of shots, least shot. I mean, they were bottom of pretty much everything. I mean, goals against, it's not as bad, but it's still not good at all. Would be a great signing there, Jack Tucker. Yeah, Gillingham got a really good defender, Jack Tucker. Yeah, wouldn't mind that. So yeah, let me know. Let's go to Gillingham. Let me know in the live chat right now. We've got a lot of people watching. What are we doing with Gillingham? I mean, not literally, but what are we doing with Gillingham? Where are we putting them? You can see that defensively, not good enough. Going forward, poor. Very poor. The worst in the league. Hopefully next season is the season for Wednesday. If we get it right, surely we're going up. Interesting. I think it's going to be very important in your summer transfer window, but that's the same for a lot of teams in the league. Gillingham, focusing on Gillingham, where are we putting them? Is it just quite poor? Is it forget that even happened? This is probably the closest one out of the sides that get relegated. Some saying poor. Far them in, Gillingham thoughts. Are we going poor or forget that even happened? Because they do get relegated, and we discussed it earlier. If a side get relegated, does that instantly stick them in the bottom tier? Poor, quite poor, bottom, poor, quite poor, only went down on goal difference. That's what I mean. I think because it's so close, it's tough. Definitely bottom. Even though we got promoted to the Championship, I massively look forward to League One as next season. Could be very interesting. Lots of good teams in it. Yes. Which of the pro teams will there be next season? Quite poor, probably just because of that. Forget, surely. Less than 10 wins. So, I mean, it's so tight. In fact, we're going to run a poll. We'll have a poll. Who doesn't love a poll? Let's go to the poll. How do we get onto that? Let's quickly flip back onto this because I don't want to. Let's run a poll for Gillingham because it's so tight. It's tight. Someone's saying, yeah, bottom. It's interesting. It's tough. Right, let's run a poll because we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to get to the bottom of this ASAP. A lot of people have got their thoughts. So many people have got their thoughts. We've just hit 1.6k, by the way. You guys are absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. 1.175 thousand people watching right now. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. You are an absolute bunch of legends. I mean that. Right, let's run a poll. Am I signed into the right account? Yes, I am. Right, Gillingham. Because while we do that, we can move on. Because then we can come back to it in just a second. Right, run the poll right now. We should see the poll on the screen. There we go, Gillingham. So it's going to be poor, bottom tier, because it's very, very tight. We need to get the thoughts on that as quickly as we can. Let's move on then. We'll come back to Gillingham because that's the bit of dividing thoughts on that. But I don't mind it. It's real chat. It's real conversation. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Right then, let's go to Ipswich next. Ipswich is going to be difficult. 29 people have already voted. I'll get the thoughts back on the vote very, very soon. We'll come back to that. If you haven't voted, then do give a little vote on that. 39 people have already voted. You people already given your thoughts in for Gillingham. I'm going to just put something in so I can see what it's looking like. I'm going to go poor. It's probably where I put them. It's very, very close. 53% to 47%. It's very, very tight. Very, very close. Right, let's go to Ipswich then. We'll move on to Ipswich. If you've got any Ipswich fans in the chat, do let me know. But most importantly, if you're not an Ipswich fan, this is where I need your help. What are we saying about Ipswich? Because they invested in, similar to Charlton a little bit, but I'll tell you a little bit more. The amount of players that came in. Paul Cook, of course, came in at the end of last season, or probably at the end of last season. Well, it was, wasn't it? Was it the end of last season or the majority of last year? I can't actually remember when he was in last year. But ultimately, he started the season. It was the end of last season, wasn't it? Because they sacked the guy before him, who was completely forgotten what his name was. Is it? Completely forgotten. I do apologise. But they invested. They invested really, really heavily. But not just invested, they brought a lot of players in. I think the downfall for Ipswich, well, ultimately was they brought too many players in. And you can do that. You can bring too many players in and it can be an absolute landslide and it can cause a lot of problems. It wasn't a horrific season, but it certainly was not where a lot of Ipswich fans thought they would go. A lot of Ipswich fans thought it was going to be a comfortable top six. I certainly did. I think I predicted they'd win the league, which is an absolute lot. Ipswich bang average, poor for Ipswich, I reckon. They were favourites to win the league. I thought they'd be up there for sure, finish 11th. Paul Lambert, that's exactly who it was. I do apologise. Paul, average, bang average, up next season. We're going up, might need a between tier. That's what I mean. But the controversy here is we haven't got a middle tier, which means we've got to put them in somewhere. 1.3 thousand people watching right now. You people are absolutely insane. 1.3 thousand people watching me right now rank League One clubs. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like as well. So much content and more. So much content next season. I mean, this is only just the start. This is only just the start. Next season, we'll be firing content up and down the country, going to a variety of stadiums, hopefully some new stadiums. And of course, well, the content just like this is going to be flying at you. So make sure you subscribe. We don't want to miss that. Leave a like as well. Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Mid-table for Ipswich. Ipswich, wealthy club, can see quality just quantity. Exactly. I think it was the quantity that was the problem for them. Poor for Ipswich, average. I mean, it's another Gillingham one. We're going to close the Gillingham poll because we probably need to get another one. Average, mate, from an Ipswich fan. Average. Is it average? Well, I mean, let's have a little look where they finished here. 11th in the league. It's tough. It's really, really tough. I mean, by the way, the 60 votes on the Gillingham, it's gone with bottom in the end. So we will close that poll. And we will put them in the bottom tier and go back to this one here. I mean, it's tough. It's really, really tough. I mean, there's you should visit Big EFL Games and Oxford Vlogs. We did a few matchday experiences this season. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll be hoping to go to as many new grounds as we can. Of course, we've got some new teams in the league, so that'd be very, very exciting. I'm going to go Ipswich on bang average because a lot of people are saying bang average. But I mean, from what I see, average, it looked like they were going to be in the playoffs. The playoffs didn't gel, and it was problematic. Average for Cook's performance. I mean, McKenna looks to come in. I think he's going to come in and be a really, really good addition for them, by the way. I think he's someone he's fresh, he's new, he's got fresh ideas. They've already signed Ladapa, of course, as well, for the ex-Rotherham man. I think he was released by Rotherham or didn't sign a new contract there. And I think that's going to be a really good signing because they were missing that striker, I felt, last season. Piggott didn't quite do it. Norwood was a little bit hit and miss. Obviously, Bond is a good player and he has scored goals. But in terms of another striker on top of that, you're going to need more. And Adapo certainly is that. He's lively, he's quick, he's great in the air. He's the real all-round striker. That's a brilliant signing for them. But looking at this season, it probably does have to be bang average. 70 points any other season would be pushing players. Poor considering where they were. That's what I mean. It's tough. It's really, really quite tough. For me, it's between both. In fact, you know what time it is. In fact, you know exactly what time it is. We're going to close the Rotherham. We're going to close the Gillingham poll, and we're going to start an Ipswich poll. And this is getting really controversial. Right, we're going to end up. Let's finish that poll. Bolton in the end, bottom. Sorry, in the end for that one. A lot of people giving their thoughts in, by the way, which is absolutely incredible stuff. Ipswich will get top 6 next season. For money spent, expectation, etc. Has to be poor. If that was Bolton, they would be battered with poor. As a Lincoln fan, please put us at the bottom because we've been awful. We deserve to get relegated. Interesting stuff. Average. I mean, it's so tight. I mean, let's start it. We've got to do a poll on this because we can't decide. It's either average or it's poor. And I'd have to agree. If someone said to me, which 2 tiers would it be? It's between those two. If I'm being completely honest myself, I'm going towards poor, based on money spent, based on expectation. Yeah, and based on the investment, I think, as well. But again, there was a... I mean, I predicted them first, and they finished 11th. So it's a poor prediction. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a poor season, but it certainly isn't great. Of course, let me know what you've got to say. That, of course, is up right now. 8 people have already voted, so give your thoughts. If you're watching this right now, please do vote. John Green, mate, we're going up. Average. It's tough. 29 people have already started voting. Incredible stuff. Incredibly poor season for Ipswich. It's very, very divided. Very, very divided indeed. Sorry about that. That is not the right screen. I did not mean to press that. Right, let's go to Lincoln then. Lincoln is next. We'll come back to Ipswich because that poll is causing a lot of problems. For me, Lincoln, it has to be just quite poor. I know someone just said there, you've got to put them in, forget that even happened. I don't think we can put that in there because you didn't get relegated. And again, I think we're not necessarily saying that you have to be in that tier if you get relegated. There is a bit of leeway, of course, but ultimately, I feel that you didn't get relegated. You're 17th in the league. You're safe as sound in the end. I mean, there were points maybe where you thought there could be a relegation on the cards, but you know, you're what, 13 points safe, 12 points safe in the end. There's not really a problem in there for me. I think you are in a position under Michael Appleton where you enjoyed a really good season the season before that, the season before the one we just had, but it just didn't click this year. And that was the problem. I think there was an aspect of the season. Inconsistency was a serious problem. You went on beat some really good sides this year. You beat and had some good results, but they were a mix of too many poor results. So I'm going to go just quite poor. A lot of people are saying average. I don't think it can be average. I don't think it can be average for Lincoln because maybe, but I don't think it can be. They got to the playoff final. We've got to remember they got to the playoff final the season before, and they're now in 17th. It's a poor season. It's not a good season. I mean, Michael Appleton's now left his role as well, which means he's a very good manager. No doubt he didn't have a good season, but a very good manager, of course, available for teams to go and get potentially, linked with a few jobs. But I don't think he's probably going to get one this summer. He might do, but I don't think he will. So, yeah, it's tough. What people are saying on the Ipswich vote, we got very close. I mean, this is how tight it is, 49-51%. I did say that. We deserved to. We only survived because we were all right away from home sometimes, and all the other teams below us were that bad. It probably has got to be poor. Lincoln usually compete for playoffs, so it has to be poor. We signed 19 players this summer, so it's poor. Poor for Lincoln. Yeah, I think we can agree. We don't need to vote for that. I think it's poor. Someone said poor recruitment as well. Yeah, it wasn't a great season. Right, MK Dons. I think we'll be looking a little bit higher in terms of tiers for MK Dons. Lincoln, definitely poor. Yeah, I think we can agree. We'll come back to the Ipswich vote in just a second. If you haven't subscribed, you haven't left a like, please do so. I know I keep saying it, but, it's important. And we've got a lot of people watching right now. I thank every single one of you for tuning in. MK Dons, then. What are we saying about MK Dons? Because they've had a phenomenal year. They've had a phenomenal year. And they're very unlucky. They were very, very unlucky not to go up. I mean, they could have even sneaked into that top 2 in the end, but they didn't, and they had to go through the playoffs, and they faced the Wycombe side. We know how Wycombe play, very, very different to MK Dons, pretty much contrasting styles of play. It has to be at least a good season, if not higher. Joe Green saying elite. MK Dons, good for MK Dons, good. MK Dons elite, what a season. Their play is amazing. I knew there's going to be debate here. It has to be an elite season, it has to be good season. Easily, elite, good. It's not. It's going to be another poll. It's so tough. It's so difficult. It probably has to be. The problem with elite is elite season. Elite season screams promotion to the championship. But does it have to be? Does it have to be? Because you can look at where they expected to go. You look at how they played, the size they beat, the run they went on. It doesn't have to. You don't have to be an elite season. I don't think even if you don't go up. Purely respecting MK Dons, they probably have to be. I mean, beating 5-0 at Plymouth on the final day. I mean, it's between the two. The Ipswich vote changed to poor now. Yeah, it's very, very close. We'll come back to it in just a second. I just missed a chat there. Elite for MK Dons, in my opinion. They had a fantastic season, especially in the second half. Didn't manage to win the playoffs, but still a very good season. A team filled with Brook would be elite season, as it was immense this season. Shame it didn't. He can go back to Arsenal. They were outside the relegation last season. Exactly. Based on last season, based on the way they've played, I know it's quite difficult to do that, and I think can be a little bit a bit of a contradiction. But I think that the show they put on, it probably has to be elite. I'm going to go elite season. I'm going to do it. Now, not elite. Didn't get promoted. Good season. What are people saying on the Ipswich vote, by the way? It's on 50... What is the Ipswich vote saying? 50%. 50-50. 50-50. 80 votes, 50-50. Beat Rotherham away with 10 men most of the match. By the way, Ipswich are so close. Just edging towards average. Just think, for a regular mid-table team finishing third this season, almost getting onto the promotion, it has to be elite. Tom, you could be right there. You could be right. For a Bolton fan, it has to be elite. By the way, that Ipswich vote is 50-50 again. So tight. I'm going to go with the elite season. I'm going to leave it there. I mean, look at this. I mean, yeah, let's have a look at the league table. We don't need to. We know where they are. They finished third. Brilliant campaign. 89 points for a side that just missed that. Were outside the relegation zone last season. Or certainly, I mean, you can see where they were last year. They weren't outside the relegation zone. They were 13th in the league. But again, nowhere near the top six, really, over 10 places away, just under 10 points away. And you compare it to this season, I mean, like you said, 5-0 on the final day, unlucky not to automatically go up, played a very difficult Wycombe side, and the styles of play, I think, probably did harm them a lot when they look at how contrasting they were. But, Scott Twine, I mean, he was an absolute player for them last year, or should I say this season. 89 points. Bottom fan has to be elite. MK Dons beat us 2-1 away. Elite season, what happened? It probably has to be elite season. It probably does. But feel free to change that, by the way. 50-50 on the... We nearly got 100 people. Just gone to 51. Twine plays well because of the players around him. It's true. It is true. And you have to have service. It's not just a one-man show, but in terms of highlighting one player that really shone last year, I mean, there's lots of others. You look at, look at Harry Darling at the back and many others. But again, Wigan 20th first now. We'll come on to Wigan. Of course. But I think MK Dons are going to go up in an elite season. Good luck, MK Dons, next season. I do wish them luck. But hopefully not too much luck. Hopefully Oxford United can maybe better them next season. We'll have to wait and see. But no doubt, a phenomenal campaign. Right, moving on then to Morecambe. By the way, we're going to come back to Ipswich vote because we don't even have a decision yet. 96 people have voted. It's still on 50-50. It's ridiculous. Right, Morecambe. What we said about Morecambe, because Morecambe, they've had a good season. Surely you have to say good season. We haven't done Bolton yet, mate. No, we haven't. Jack Grealish. We haven't done Bolton. It probably has to be good season, doesn't it? Because they didn't go down. A lot of people predicted them to go down. Portsmouth home and away. Hello, by the way, if you're a Portsmouth fan, which I'm presuming you are, being Portsmouth home and away, check out the video I did yesterday, 2 days ago, sorry. It's on the channel right now, talking about Portsmouth season in a lot of depth. We came straight out of admin and got great new owners, made a lot of good signings, been an absolutely incredible season with us. I'm presuming you're talking about Wigan there. Morecambe, not a poor season. Poorest team in the league. All predictions we bang last. Relegated and we managed to fend them off. Stockton had an elite season. I'm saying good for Morecambe. It probably has to be good. It probably does have to be good. Elite for Morecambe. I mean, I don't know if we can go elite. Elite. People are saying elite. I don't know if we can go elite. I mean, Cole Stockton is elite. Burton says forget. I don't think we can forget it even happened. I don't think we can do that. Good season for Morecambe. It probably has to be a good season. It's not average, because average would be what we all expected, or sort of like a meh season. It wasn't a meh season because they stayed up. They stayed up, and they had a really, really good campaign in relation to what a lot of people predict them to do. So it does have to be a good season for me. I think that's only fair. By the way, Ipswich have had the vote, 108 votes. If you haven't voted, please do that because it's so tight. 52% average at the moment, 48% for poor. We'll come back to that vote at 10 minutes. So two more minutes on that vote. Morecambe managed to stay up despite the odds, so not too bad. Good season. It has to be a good season. Right, let's move on to Oxford United. Oxford, of course, the team that I support, the team I followed and watched pretty much every game. I think I did watch every game this season. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. A little bit disappointed at the end. I mean, it was an enjoyable season. But it ended in a little bit of frustration because we felt that the top six wasn't nailed on because you can't be that arrogant in the league when you look at how competitive the division is. But you can see, and one thing I've mentioned it quite a lot recently, 76 points does not get you in the top six. Even 80 points doesn't get you in the top six. The pure competitivity of the division, it's tight, it's harsh, it's cruel. I'm still saying, look, if I'm saying good season. Look, I'm gonna be a little bit. Someone said Oxford just quite poor. It wasn't. I don't think we can say it's a poor season. It's either average or good for me. It's either average or good, and I probably should have a better opinion on it because I do watch them all the time. Morecambe managed to stay up. Good season. Rotherham elite. We'll come on to that. Oxford average, quite poor. Average. Maybe it is average. I went to the last game for Oxford. I thought we should have won the game. Just quite poor. I'm not willing to put my team in poor. And that's not. That sounds like I'm being way too biased. It wasn't a poor season. We played good football. We beat a lot of sides, home and away, and we also, I think we can't even say we deserve to be in the top six because so many sides deserve to be in the top six. Look, a side that misses out by, in the end, I mean, was it 6 points? But I think was certainly in the mix for a lot of the season. It probably has to be good. Average because you missed out on the playoffs. The reason, my only sort of, I guess what I will come back at that is, we're certainly not in the position where we expect to be in the top six based on budget. Based on the past few years, we are. We probably would be expected to be in there. We've been there, 2 seasons on the trot. So maybe it is an average season. Did you hear Newcastle's home kit got leaked because they deleted it straight after? I haven't heard that, mate. Mate, they have not had a poor season. They finished 8th and really should be in the playoffs. I've seen that finish 8th. I don't think you can put in there. It's either average or good. I'm gonna listen to you. Is it average? Yeah, it probably is. It probably is average, but it's so frustrating. It's so difficult because you look at Octa's season, you look at the league table. It's tight. In the end, it's not as tight because of the last 5 games. We let ourselves down at the business end of the season, and that's the frustration. We look back on the campaign, the key games at the end, the ones that let us down, some sloppy results here and there. I would still, if you had to say what season would it be, I'd say it was a good year. We haven't done Wigan yet. No. Average for Oxford. Considering their position at the start of April, they should have finished in the top 6, completely bottled it. Yeah, in that sense, yeah, in terms of where we were, and in terms of the key games of the business end, we have done that. Do a poll. It's got to be a poll job, innit? It's got to be a poll. Let's do a poll. It's so difficult. It's borderline. It is borderline. It's a good season. If someone goes to you finish 8th on 76 points at the start of the season, you would be a little bit frustrated you didn't come in the top 6. However, 8th, 76 points, you're nowhere near in competition to the investment that, for example, Sunderland got. But they didn't get loads of investment, but I guess the size of the club. Charlton, I mean, we're not a big club at all. I mean, in terms of the size of the football club, it's... That's what I'm talking about in terms of size of football club and in terms of the budgeting and all that sort of sense of it. 8th is a very good year, but I get what you mean. We've got 139 votes. By the way, that Ipswich is still 50-50. Missed out because of a bad run at losing football. That's what I mean. 3 in a row, end of the season, business end. That's what killed us. That's exactly what killed us. Someone said poll. We've got to do a poll. Let's do a poll. It's so tough. By the way, I have no idea. What? By the way, 51. That poll is still 50-50. Ipswich is still 50-50. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. I have no idea what we're going to do. In fact, because it's 50-50, I'm going to go with what I would say originally for Ipswich. I'm going to go just quite poor. It's a poor season for Ipswich. I'm sorry. It just is. I'm going to be a bit brutal here. Because I expected better from Ipswich, and I think it has been a poor year. Not a bad year, poor year. Right, let's end the poll. I think it actually ended on average just by 1% in the end, but I'm going to go with poor. I'm sorry. Right, let's go to Oxford then, because this one we cannot decide. Even I can't decide, and I've watched every game this season, and that says quite a lot about my indecisive nature. Poor, good. No, it'd be average good, isn't it? Average or good? Let's ask the community. What have you got to say? It's 51-49. Poor really. You haven't let me down. You have let me down. Yeah. Someone said poor really, you've let me down. I don't know then. I don't know. I can't decide. I literally can't decide. It's so tight. So tight. We've got to move on. We can't sit here and mess around. We've got to move on. Right, let's go to Plymouth Argyle then. Plymouth next. For me, it's either an elite season or a good season. The reason why I'm not putting in an elite season because you didn't finish in the top 6, but no doubt at all good season. If there was a category in between that, for like great season or outstanding, it's probably arguably better than elite, but certainly great season, you have to have Plymouth in there. But it's a good season. Missing out on in the top 6 means you probably aren't an elite, but certainly good. I don't think you can really argue that. Let me know what you would say in the comments down below, but also in the live chat. Is it an elite season? Is it a good season? It probably has to be good. If I'm being totally honest. So tight, by the way, the Oxford one as well, but it's just slightly on average. Average. Good season. Oxford not bad at all. I thought Oxford was good, to be fair. They get some good games. Good season, Plymouth. Yeah, moving on to Plymouth then. Let's go to Plymouth. Good season, Plymouth. It has to be good season. I don't think you can talk about an elite season because, again, missing out on the top 6 on the final day. But, again, they're in there for a long period of the season. But missing out, it's frustrating. Good season, no doubt, will be elite if they made the top 6. Exactly, Clayton. Could not agree more. So, yeah, I mean, the end of the season, their run they went on wasn't good enough. I think that they really struggled in terms of the final few games of the season. They almost, if they had finished the top 6, they would have stumbled over the line. They wouldn't have cared. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's how you do it. Not really necessarily how you do it. It's if you do it. And in the end, they weren't able to. But a really, really good season for them, considering where they were last season. The football they played as well, losing their manager, Ryan Lowe, in the middle of the campaign pretty much. And then Stephen Schumacher coming in and sort of taking over the reins and doing a brilliant job. And just only, missing out on it by, in the end, 3 points. But again, very, very close. And throughout the season, they proved to be a really, really good side. So it's tough. It very, very is tough. But Plymouth bottled their promotion. I mean, they lost 5 on the final day. So it's not great. Good for Plymouth. Shame they had MK Dons the last day. No wins in the last 5. Yeah, but you can look at the last 5. You also got to look at the entire season. They played 46 games. 46 games, and across those 46 games, they were very, very good. Yes, games in there, they were a little bit disappointing, but ultimately, when it matters, and I think they'll feel disappointed because they couldn't get in those playoff places, but throughout the season, compared to they were last season, expectation as well, they have to have a good season. Plymouth, very good team. Average of Plymouth just because of the position they were in. I'm going to go no, Kenny, personally. It's just your opinion, though. Can anyone remember Darlington FC, guys? I know of them. Remember them. As in remember them. I think they are still a football club that exists. I don't think they've just completely disappeared. Right, looking at the poll for Oxford United, average 55%. You people have spoken, so we're going to have to put in average because, I mean, it's a poll game as well. So we're going to go with that. And for Plymouth, yeah, we're happy to put them in good. I don't need a poll on that. It's going to miss this channel next season because I'm a Wigan fan. Still going to watch you. You're so underrated. Thank you very much, Wigan Athletic Clips. I really do appreciate it. Right, let's go to Bolton then because a lot of people, again, we've got some Bolton fans. I've already seen a lot of Bolton fans. We've got to go on to them. By the way, we've got a big selection of teams coming up. Lots of talking points. Bolton, what are we saying about Bolton? Team, of course, got promoted last season. Stepped into League One. And I was very, very impressed with them. Evening, everyone says, Nat, how you doing? Hi, how are we doing? Bolton clear elite. Have a good season, Oxford from Sunderland. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry, you're saying have a good season. I thought you were putting us in a tier there. Thank you very much, and to you. Good evening, Nat. How you doing, everybody? Everyone say good evening to Nat. Everyone saying evening. How we doing? Drop down to Northern Leagues, now working their way back up. Interesting. Good season for Bolton. Average poor. I mean, it can't be poor. It simply cannot be poor. Bolton, good season. It's got to be good, isn't it? I think it's got to be good. Poor, elite. Good. Thanks. Right, it has to be. For me, it's going to be good. I'm happy to put them there. Bolton had a good season, didn't impress. Bolton came good too late. Best team we played and had some quality players. Beat us 6-0, bang average. They ended up 9th. Yeah, they finished 9th, but this is a side that were promoted last year. They're promoted last year. Forget that even happened for Bolton. I think there's a bit of Wigan in there. Bolton good. Good season, but it's good, isn't it? It's good. I mean, people will argue it should be higher, but they finished higher than Portsmouth, Ipswich, Charlton. I mean, by the way, if we're talking about putting Ipswich in bang average, and I mean, in the end, we just didn't. But in the end, I mean, it's very close to a lot of people were arguing that. You have to put Bolton in good season. Finished higher than a lot of teams in the league that expected to be much higher in the end. It has to be good. For a promoted side that did very well, wouldn't give them elite though. Yeah, it can't be. I'm not saying elite. Let's be honest. It's probably not elite, but it definitely has to be good. Good for Bolton. Keep their players. They'll be right up the next season. Their January transfer window was very, very good. They sort of fell off a little bit before January, but post January, I was very, very impressed with them. And that was because they had a real boost in terms of the players they brought in January. But it has to be a good season, I think, in that sense. Bolton good. I wish I forget about Bolton. Are you posting this video? This will be going up as a video. If that's okay, by the way. If that's okay. We are here, Sunderland. We are Sunderland. Our goal expected to be mid-table at best. We led the table for a couple of months. We're in a good season. Surely that's a massive overachievement and therefore elite. Too many teams have good here. There's a lot of good teams, isn't there? A lot of good teams. Right, let's go to Portsmouth then. I think we can pretty much agree Bolton are good. So we'll go to Portsmouth next, unless anyone's got some. I mean, a lot of people are saying a variety of different things. Portsmouth, I'm gonna go just quite poor. I'm going poor for Portsmouth. I think obviously if you haven't watched the episode of the podcast where we discussed Portsmouth, I did it with 4-0 written all over it. Tom, brilliant guy, brilliant channel, I did an interview with him. I discussed sort of Portsmouth season, and it was a really interesting interview, a really interesting insight into what has been, he described as a disappointing campaign. And I think it's disappointing. It probably has to be poor. Can't forget it even happened, but it's not bang average. It's poor. Yeah, people are flooding in with their thoughts on here. Poor, Pompey average. Poor for us. We're too inconsistent. I think inconsistency was a serious problem for you, Portsmouth. I think that really did let you down. Portsmouth has to be poor. I think we can all agree there. It wasn't a good season for Portsmouth. It probably does have to be poor. Right, then let's move on then to Rotherham United. Picked up towards the end. Yeah, they did pick up towards the end, but I think the majority of the season was so inconsistent. They end 11th in the league. Is it 11th or 10th? 10th in the end. Yeah, it does have to be poor for me. Portsmouth has to be average. They went through the whole scale changes, manager and coach just getting their feet under the table. Maybe, but Danny Cowley was there last season. I know the end of last season. They was there for 7-8 games for last season, so he did have a summer. Poor at quality. Poor. Right, let's go to Rotherham then. People have already moved on to Rotherham. Let's do that. Rotherham elite. A lot of people say elite, and I'm probably going to have to agree with it. Bang out your Pompey. Yeah, it probably... it's tough. Elite Rotherham promoted. Enough. Said enough. Elite. Rotherham good. Should have won it, but get promoted. Elite. Has to be elite. Rotherham good. They were expected to go up. Not elite. Elite. It's tough. A lot of people giving their thoughts in the live chat. Rotherham good season. I think if you come second and you go up, it has to be an elite season. I think it has to be an elite season. I think if you get promoted... Look, they had moments in the season where I thought they weren't even going to get in the top two. I thought they were nailed on for the title, and it sort of went on a really bad run. But they go up. They get promoted. They're playing in the Championship. They got relegated last season, and they got straight back into the Championship. That was the ambition. That was the expectation. It has to be an elite season. They won the Papa John's Trophy as well. I mean, we are looking solely at League One, but that is a good point. They had a sticky patch in March, April, but did so well everyone at that point. Yeah, it's simple. Sirius says it's elite. It's simple. Look, it's an elite season. Average. They're a yo-yo club. Forget it even happened. It has to be elite. You come second. I think you get promoted. It's got to be in the top tier. If you put an MK Dons at elite, and they didn't get promoted, then you've got to put Rotherham in elite as well. And that's not just directing MK Dons, by the way. They're a very, very good season. But you know what I'm trying to say. They didn't get promoted. You can't have a side not get promoted, be an elite season, and not have Rotherham in there. Good season, up and down Championship, nearly through it. They did nearly throw it, but they did it. Right, by the way, Oxford votes got 105 votes, 52% saying average. I have put them in bang average. As much as I didn't want to, I have done so. Sheffield Wednesday next, of course. That's where we're going to go to next. Sheffield Wednesday, good season. Of course, you can see on the screen right now, Sheffield Wednesday, 4th in the league. Brilliant end to the season, ultimately, that got them into the top 6 comfortably, 4th. Of course, knocked out by Sunderland in those playoff semi-finals, but it's a good season. Burton says, bye, I'm out. Have a good rest of your day, my friend. Thank you very much for tuning in. Did I say good season? It probably does have to be a good season. I think it's been a good season for Sheffield Wednesday. Forget that even happened. I don't think we can forget it even happened. It's good. I think it is good. I mean, let me know what you got to say, Sheffield Wednesday fans, and of course external perspectives as well. Good for me. Sheffield Wednesday poor. They're expected to go straight up. Didn't even get to the playoff final. But they finished 4th. Wednesday's a difficult one. League position suggests they had a good season, but they drew away too many games. Should have done better with that squad. Yeah, there was clear problems. There was clear flaws in that side. I think there was something that told me that I thought they were going to go back, going to go straight up. But I think it's a good season. I think it's a good season in the sense that you finish 4th in the league. I'm not unlucky against Sunderland because Sunderland were the better side, but I think they drew a Sunderland side that were very, very drilled in the sense that that's exactly they wanted to get promoted. They were desperate to do so. So you're playing against a side that, but then you could argue Sheffield Wednesday were as well. So it's a bit of a contradiction in itself. But probably, I don't think you can say it has to be good. So we did a poll. Good season for the Owls, considering when we've been. League One next year is going to be even more tough. Sunderland must be elite. We'll come back to Sunderland, of course. Or we'll come to Sunderland. We haven't got there yet. Owls, good. Sheffield Wednesday, possibly average, possible good. Yeah, it's soon average and good for me. Sorry I'm late, mate. No worries, Matthew. The legend Matthew is in the chat. No live stream without Matthew, of course. Charlie says average, some quality players there, though. I mean, Matthew just joined us. Matthew, of course, a bit of a legend in the Young Fan podcast. What are we? Group. What are your thoughts on Sheffield Wednesday? I've put them in good, but a lot of people are saying average. Average. Some quality players, though. Hurry up. Bells, you're late, man. He is a bit late, but it's fine. He's here. That's all that matters. Sheffield Wednesday, let's do a poll. I don't want to keep saying, I don't want to keep talking because a lot of people get a little bit frustrated. We keep repeating ourselves. So let's just move on. Let's just go to a poll. We'll come back to Sheffield Wednesday. By the way, Oxford finished on... What did we finish on? It was on average in the end. So I think we can surely say that they won that. What are people saying as well? Sheffield Wednesday. People are flying there. Sorry, I'm late, mate. No worries. Sunderland had a good season. We'll come back to Sunderland. Wednesday injuries at the back, so not good. Sheffield Wednesday had to be average at best. It's so tight, which means it needs a poll. It's how things work. It's just how it happens. Let's end that poll. Average, considering they were tipped to go back up, so anything below that has to be average. Matthew spoken. Matthew has spoken. Is it good? Or is it average? Poll is now up. So, of course, when the poll is up, you start gets voting. 123 people voted on the Oxford one, by the way. 53% was average, 46% was good. It's very, very close, but you have spoken, so it has to be average. The injuries hindered Wednesday the whole season. You did have injuries, and that has to be considered. Sunderland had an elite season. Guys, hold fire on Sunderland. We'll come on to Sunderland. Now, Wednesday, we're good with players out around Christmas and still finishing top 6. It's tough. But the poll is there for a reason. So people will vote and they'll give their thoughts. And while we do Sheffield Wednesday's vote, we'll do Shrewsbury. And for Shrewsbury, I mean, it's a bit of a more interesting one for Shrewsbury. 18th in the league. We'll come on to Sheffield Wednesday. We'll bring that chat up in a minute because we have to come back to that vote. What we've said on Shrewsbury, 18th in the league, 50 points, 10 points from safety in the end. Sort of a season of up and down, inconsistencies, hence why they are 18th, and normally an inconsistent side does finish around that sort of area. So I was going to go with, it's poor average, isn't it? It's poor average. By the way, a lot of people are saying average for Sheffield Wednesday. That's a little bit more of a clear vote. Good, they got the playoffs, only lost. That's Sheffield Wednesday. I'm a Sunderland fan. I think poor. I'm a Sunderland fan. We deserve elite. Average, Shrewsbury, poor. Average, always finish 5th to 18th. 15th to 18th, sorry. Bang average. Shrewsbury between average and poor. Shrewsbury average. It's average or poor, isn't it? I think Shrewsbury, we're going to be nice. We'll put them in average. I think they did okay. They did average, didn't they? In the end, they were safe. I mean, their position's a little bit tough because you're looking at a side. What Shrewsbury would have hoped for is to stay in the league. They did that. They finished 18th, so people go, it's really low. It is low, and I know it is on league position. They finished 10 points from safety, so they weren't even thinking about relegation. I think it has to just be average. They didn't have the biggest budget. They didn't have the biggest football club. But again, they did fairly well. Didn't Shrewsbury manager have really bad health issues? I think the way that team came together, and they very good point actually, Matthew. Yeah, he did. I think he had COVID really badly. So I think in terms of a pre-season being, and I think it was pre-season, I don't know whether or not he made it or got back into the dugout for the start of the season, but I know it definitely hindered the end of last year, and I don't know whether or not how much of pre-season and the start of this season it sort of affected him or affected it. And it's a really, really good point. I think it's really a very, very valid point to bring up. I think in terms of hindering a season, that's a massive, massive blow when your manager is not there. So I think you've got, out of respect and purely as well, and not just out of respect, I think it is that, but it's also looking at their finish from a football perspective. It has been a bang average season, but certainly I think it's more than a relief than anything that their manager, I think it's Steve, is it Steve? I can't remember his second name. I know it's Steve something. It could be Steve Correll or something. Steve Colwell. I could be completely wrong there. Ultimately, it's just important that he's healthy and he's okay. So I think bang average is fair. 4-0 written all over it. The legend that is, of course, Tom. Of course, we've got 2 episodes on the channel right now talking to Tom. We did his team of the season, and we did a Portsmouth deep dive as well. So if you're a Portsmouth fan or just a League One fan, I think it's really interesting. I'm not going to blow too much smoke up my own backside, but I think it's a really, really interesting one. You should definitely check it out. And Tom did most of the talking, which means I can say it's a good episode. And I think you should really go and watch it because I really enjoyed it. So that's how I can get away with it. Smash the like button. Certainly do smash that like button. Thank you very much, Chris. You're doing my job for me. Really do appreciate it. 1234 Sunderland take over live streams wherever they go. Thank you very much. I don't mind you taking over the live stream as well. The fact we got relegated on the back of points deduction and lost half our squad, and yes, we're expected to get back up. But the DM first season in charge, yeah, we finished 4th, but we did well. We'll come back to that Shrewsbury, that's Sheffield Wednesday post in just a second. Right, we moved on then. Mad to see the viewers in this stream. You quite literally have come from the bottom. Mad respect. Thank you so much, Matthew. I mean, you've been on the journey with me, and you've been a legend. I remember when we did, and it's a bit of a turning point, but Matthew, remember we did a stream. I think we did an Oxford match reaction about over a year ago now, and I think I got about 5 viewers we got. And we've now had, at the peak of this stream, 1.5 thousand viewers. And we had 5 viewers when we were talking about Oxford against Wimbledon nearly a month and I think it's like 6 months ago. A year and 6 months ago, 1.5 years ago. So we've come such a long way, and that's down to you. It's partly me, but it's mostly you. And without you watching, we wouldn't have those sort of numbers. And that's why it is down to you and the interaction we have. And the progression that I think we've made this season. I use the word we. I use that as a collective word because I think it is together. Because without the interaction, without you talking about your club in the comment section, the live chat, and you interacting, it isn't what it is. So I think it's really, really, really brilliant ultimately. And I thank you all so much for that. Takes over live streams. They are. Darren Moore had COVID too. Was worried he wouldn't make it. Glad he's okay. Exactly. Of course, anyone that had COVID, but certainly like that. It's a relief that everyone's okay, and like I keep saying, health before football, of course, is absolutely correct. Good for us, I reckon. I think it was Boxing Day, the 27th December, 2-1 win over Wimbledon. Remember it well. Yeah, it was really, really interesting, and you look like a lot like I'm Alex, by the way. Interesting. Sunderland had to be elite. They had loads of injuries, especially after Christmas and a farewell COVID. On top of that, they got suffering from Bolton last home games against Denver and Cheltenham. Right, let's move. Easy phase. I don't know what's going on there. Right, let's move on to Sunderland because a lot of people have got their thoughts on Sunderland. Let's have a little quick look, by the way. Let's have a little look at the vote for Sheffield Wednesday. Average is what Sunderland going straight back down. There we go. Sunderland until I die. Right, let's go to Sunderland then, because a lot of people are going to have their thoughts on Sunderland, and quite rightly so. Massive fan base, massive football club, stayed in League One for a long, long time, and of course desperate to get out of the league, and they finally do it. And for that, you purely had to take your hat off, because Alex Neil came in. I mean, a bit of controversy around Lee Johnson losing his job, but he does lose his job. He got sacked, and Alex Neil came in. That appointment, by the way, was so good. They got it spot on. A lot of people a little bit cautious about it. He'd not been at Norwich, wasn't needed at Preston, but did well at both of those clubs. I think it was Hamilton before that as well, and generally had a very, very good record. He's come in, he's made an instant impact. A manager coming in and making an instant impact, getting promoted, and being the manager that gets Sunderland out of the league, that has to have so much credit. The players as well were brilliant. The fans are brilliant. The football club does not deserve to be in League One, but I keep saying it, and I will be honest, and I'm honest all the time. What I would say is no one is bigger than the league. No one is too good for the league. League One is so competitive. Just look at this tier list. Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton, Portsmouth, Ipswich, Charlton, Sunderland, Wigan. I know some of them have already gone up and will be playing in the Championship next season. But this league is so competitive. No one's too good for it. Sunderland were very, very good this season. Exceptional under Alex Neil. Class appointment. As Matthew said, it has to be elite. Let's go see what you got to say. A lot of people get their thoughts in. So many people. Sunderland elite, I reckon. Good season for us because we did it. We did what we wanted and got back into the Championship. It didn't come with its fair share of downs. Yeah, it wasn't a faultless season, but it certainly was one that you can look back on with, I'm sure, a lot of happiness. Oh God, there's so many Sunderland fans here. I'm in danger. Sunderland elite, good for us. Sunderland elite. As a Wigan fan, they're probably the best team we played at home with them, other than MK at home along with MK Dons. Got to be elite. Come on, lads. I'm sure I know I'm a Sunderland until I die. Thanks for saying we're a big club. We had a rocky season at times, like the 6-0. Since Alex Neil came in, he's made us a solid team who are very, very hard to beat. So elite, second half, and good half. So good all round. Sunderland until I die. A lot of people saying Sunderland until I die. Elite. They did mind. I'm surprised how well Alex Neil has done. What an appointment from Alex Neil. Alex Neil, our saviour. Sunderland elite. Congratulations. Elite. People are flying their thoughts in. Lee Johnson was inconsistent. They won 5-0 one week and lost 5-0 the other. Elite, but just about make it. Why this League One is so good. So many massive clubs mixed in with little clubs. And the like button has now been smashed. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. Please do such a thing. More entertaining than the Championship. Interesting. By the way, the Championship next season is looking very, very fiery. But yeah, it's just a difficult team to get out. A difficult league to get out of these days. I think you meant to say there, but certainly a spot on. People have spoken. It's going to be elite. It does have to be elite. I think that is fair. Because I think if you get promoted, brilliant playoff final win as well. Under Alex Neil, exceptional. Consistent under Alex Neil as well, because consistency was a problem, as someone mentioned with Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson sat down by Chris Maguire. I mean, in the end, he sort of does get sacked. I don't know why there's a lot of negativity around us, but we are massive. I don't know, in terms of what you mean by negativity, I think at the moment there should be no negativity around Sunderland. No one can really argue about a side that gets promoted into the Championship. Elite. Yeah, let's go elite for Sunderland. I think we can pretty much agree with that. By the way, people have spoken on Sheffield Wednesday. They've said average. People are saying average. So we're going to move Sheffield Wednesday down to that. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Right, let's move on to Wigan. Let's go to Wigan next. Wigan, elite, no doubt. Wigan had to be elite. I mean, we won the league. Yeah, I don't think we need to have too much discussion there. Top of the league, 92 points, 2 points in the end. Again, similar to Rotherham, really. A bit of a sticky point in the end, struggling to sort of get wins but come the end of the season. But wasn't too much of an issue across the season. 27 wins, 11 draws, only 8 losses. Very, very good goal difference. Win the league. Where they were last season, the progression they've made. Liam Richardson, an exceptional manager. Not just as a manager, but also as a person. But in terms of a footballing perspective, in a footballing sense, he's been brilliant. And you simply cannot argue with what they've done and the way that they've, I think, turned around in such dramatic sense. Side that were fighting for their lives as a football club to win League One in such a way. The football they played was brilliant. It has to be elite. Absolutely no doubt at all. Wigan elite. Wigan elite. Wigan no doubt. Sunderland should be storming the league in League One. I said good, low, elite. Wigan elite just scrapped survival last season. Exactly. When you look at where they were last season, it has to be just that. They also have more games to play than most. We'll find the championship as well, I reckon. If we're elite, definitely have to be elite, even though we beat them 3 times this season. As they progressed for their cups as well, elite, yeah, it's going to be elite. I don't think there's going to be 2 arguments around that. From 20th to top, so lucky to be in the league last season. Yeah, exactly. And when you look at a side that, again, we're not destined to get relegated, but we're destined to get relegated with the financial problems last season, stayed up with the skin of their teeth, and then went on to do what they've done this season. There's no doubt at all. It has to be an elite season. Right, let's move on to Wycombe Wanderers. What are we saying about Wycombe? Wycombe Wanderers? Playoff final, of course. Lost to Sunderland in the end. Didn't really turn up for the playoff final, which would be very, very disappointing. You took Maxwell, we took him back. We stay in the championship, though, right? People are giving their thoughts to Sunderland, of course. And I presume we'll talk about Wigan as well. Wycombe. Let's move on to Wycombe. Thought we beat Sunderland twice last season, which helped us. Wycombe, good. It probably is a good season for Wycombe. I think I like hearing your thoughts first, but it probably is a good season. A side that got to the playoff final. Again, they did get relegated, but Wycombe are a little bit of an exception in that because they're not a massive club. They're not working with the biggest of budgets. I think Gareth Ainsworth certainly has been sacked. They don't play the most attractive style of play, but it works. It works at this league. Wycombe good, only just missed out on promotion apart from our 7 games run after Christmas. We were quite consistent. We went 12 games unbeaten at the end of the season, but a very good Wycombe side. Wycombe good. Wycombe good, I think. Wycombe good season, even though I really don't like them. Good, maybe. Good season. But lack definitely in the playoffs against us. Yeah, they weren't good enough in the playoffs, and they'll know that. Against MK Dons, they were okay. I say no, they were good. They were good against MK Dons, but not good at all against Sunderland. Didn't really pose a threat at all, and didn't play the way that Gareth Ainsworth and Wycombe we know do so well. I think it's comfortably a good season. Good for Wycombe. Glad we beat them in the final because I hate them. Not many people like Wycombe. I have a strained relationship with Wycombe. I imagine you do. Twine is my dad, as an MK Dons fan. I reckon winning the playoffs in the last seconds against Max Powell, they captured a shot from far out and skinned it. After that, I knew who was going to be sold. There we go. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely brilliant. This is the tier list. Of course, this is ranking every single League One club's season. However, you have helped out massively in this. If you're watching this as a video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe and leave your comments down below. We've been brilliant in the live chat. Thank you so much to every single one of you in that live chat. You have been absolutely exceptional. We've got 205 people watching, and the live stream hasn't even finished. We had 1,500 people watching at one point. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy, and I love every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because that notification bell next, it will also notify you when I go live like these, because these live streams are absolutely popping, and I'm glad you're really enjoying it. The interaction has been phenomenal, and that is what's made this episode what it is. So thank you so much for that. This is the final tier. We're going to quickly run through it now. Not forget that even happened has seen AFC Wimbledon, Crewe, Doncaster, and Gillingham. Just quite poor Charlton, Fleetwood, Lincoln, Ipswich, and Portsmouth. Bang average, we've seen Burton, Oxford United, Shrewsbury, and Sheffield Wednesday. Good season, Accrington, Stanley, Cambridge, Cheltenham, Morecambe, Plymouth, Bolton, and Wycombe Wanderers. And the elite season category, the 3 sides that got promoted, and MK Dons as well. Rotherham, Sunderland, and Wigan join MK Dons. It's been a pleasure. Put Wimbledon in the bin, mate. Another just for them. Glad Power's doing well. Nobody likes Wycombe just because they cheat their way out of the league. Cheers, pal. Great stream. We'll definitely be into more. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much. You've all been absolute legends. Have a brilliant rest of... some of you are at school or work. Then it'll be a little bit different. But if you're at school, college, whatever, have a brilliant half term and continue enjoying your half term. If you're at work, have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you very, very soon. The content at the moment does not stop. So make sure you subscribe because I've got lots of content coming your way. Until next time, I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. You've all been absolute legends this evening and this afternoon. I can't wait to see you all very, very soon. Good night, everybody. Signing off from India. Have a good rest of your day and rest of your week. Take care.